There is one sentence that cost me my good credit for over 10 years. One sentence. And I believe it with my whole heart because I thought it made me a good person. The sentence was this: if I were in this situation, I would want somebody to do this for me. That is the sentence that turns you into the family and friends ATM. It had me co signing, taking out loans, rescuing people who never even stayed to say thank you. And it cost me $20,000, a house, and a decade of my financial life before I understood why it is a lie. So today, two stories, and then the two boundaries that I live by now. So stay with me because the second story still makes my stomach drop. So let me tell you who I used to be. So you know I am not talking down to you. I am talking about myself. I was the generous one, the one who could not say no. If you were my family or my friend and you had a problem, I felt it in my own body. I had a little money or good credit, so I felt that if I could help, I had to. Saying no, it felt like a sin. And underneath all of it was that sentence: if it were me, I would want somebody to do this. So I am just doing for them what I would want done for me. That is love, right? Here's what nobody tells you when you are young: you can have a great big heart and almost no discernment at the same time. And a big heart with no discernment is not generosity, it is a loaded gun pointed at your own future. First story: there was a family emergency, the kind where everybody looks around the room to see who will fix it. I decided that it would be me. I took out a personal loan, $20,000. Now, hear this part. Right before I signed, a wise friend told me something I have never forgotten. She said, "Do not do this, Webley. If you borrow at all, only borrow an amount where the monthly payment is something that you can comfortably sustain by yourself. Borrow what you can survive, not what they need." That was the right advice. And I ignored it completely because I was not thinking with my head. I was thinking with that sentence. So I did it. And it sounded so safe. There was a land that was going to be sold, and once it's sold, it would be paid back in one lump sum. I told myself, I can sustain this for a little while. Fine. You want to know what happened to that land? The minute I signed that personal loan, it was suddenly no longer for sale, gone, and I was hooked. $20,000, all mine, all alone to pay back. And here's what my life looked back then. I was working full time and going to college full time, living completely by myself. I had no roommate, no partner, no backup. Every bill that I had, I paid alone. And now I had to pay this personal loan too. I could not sustain it. I had to ask myself terrible questions. Do I quit school and lose my tuition to pay this? Do I give up my apartment and find a tenant? In the end, I could not carry it. So I let the loan default because the money simply did not exist. And it followed me for years, more than 10 years. My credit was wrecked. And here is what still gets me. By the time I met my partner, the man that I would build my family with, that one decision from my 20s was still sitting there. We are starting a life, we have a child, and my credit is useless. We live in a credit system, so one emotional decision meant years of bad interest rate on everything we tried to build. All from one personal loan I took because of one sentence. Now, that first story was about money, a bad loan, a wrecked credit score, a number I could not carry. It hurt. But in the end, it was just math. This next one is worse. It is the one I promised would make your stomach drop because it was never really about the money. This one taught me who people truly are when you are the one left holding the bag. I had a friend about to lose their home, him and his wife. Bad mortgage, about to go under. And there was that sentence again. If I were about to lose my home, I would want someone to save me. So I decided to save them. My credit was impeccable then. The plan was I would buy the house, let them live in it about a year, and then they would buy it back from me. Clean, kind, right? I was the hero of my own little story. Now, I will give my younger self a little credit because I did one smart thing. I went to a financial advisor, a real one that I paid, with no stake in any of it, and I laid out the whole plan. And he did exactly what I paid him for. He looked at the house, at the real equity, and he said, "This does not work for you, Webley. There is no exit strategy. If this goes wrong, you do not walk away okay. If you ever sell this house, you barely break even. This is not an investment. This is a favor that can sink you." The truth to my face from the one person with no reason to lie to me, and I ignored it because the friend had said the magic words, "Oh, we are friends. We do not need a contract." Friend, write this down. Always protect yourself in every transaction, even with people you love. And you are not only protecting yourself, you are protecting them too. Where I came from, a handshake was a contract and your word was everything. But this is not the system we live in here. A handshake here will land you in a courtroom. So I did it. No contract, no protection. And 3 months later, I found out how it ends. Not from them. They never called. Somebody just drove past the house an hour away and saw a moving truck out front. That is how I found out. My friend had moved out and left me holding the whole house. They left me the mortgage. They left me a giant unpaid water bill. I had to take them to court to recover. And in that courtroom, those people I would have sworn would never do such thing. They lied. They falsified documents. People I trusted completely before money got between us. I sold the house in the end, but just like my advisor warned, I barely broke even. All that risk, and I walked away with nothing but stress and a court date. Oh, and by that time, I was also pregnant with my son. So now let me give you the thing I wish somebody had grabbed me by the shoulders and said when I was that young woman with the big heart and the big checkbook. That sentence, if I were in the situation, I would want somebody to do this for me. Look at it with me, because it is a lie. And here is how I know. If I were truly in that situation, drowning, about to lose everything, I would never put someone I love in the position I kept putting myself in. I would never ask someone I love to take a $20,000 loan for me or buy a house and gamble their whole future on me. I could not do that to someone that I love. So the kindness that I thought I was returning was never real. It was not doing for them what they would have done for me. I was inventing a fantasy of love in my own head and paying for it with my actual life. The person who would rescue me like that does not exist because I would never let someone I love wreck themselves to save me. And if that just landed somewhere deep, if you are the generous one who keeps getting burned, subscribe. This whole channel is for women who are done setting themselves on fire to keep everybody else warm. Come walk with me. Real love does not ask you to destroy your future, and it does not stand by while you do it to yourself. The people worth loving would never want you to become their ATM. Now the lessons underneath the stories, because these will protect you. When I made those choices, I told myself, it is only me, just my credit, just my risk. I am single. If I go down, only I go down. But your situation today is not your situation forever. I made those choices in my 20s alone. And 10 years later, they were sitting in the middle of the family that I built. My financial mess became my partner's financial mess. Because when you build a life with someone, your baggage becomes shared baggage. He took me with all of it, and I thank God for that man every day. But I carry a quiet guilt that he had to deal with, the mess of my 20s. So when you think it is only you on the line, understand, it is never only you. It is the future you and everyone in the future you will love. Next one, and it stings. Stop telling people your business. Why did these people feel so comfortable asking me for an enormous thing? Because they knew I had it. And they knew because I told them. You see, I had equity in a house that I had built in Florida. And at one point, I pulled about $20,000 to buy myself a condo in Massachusetts. So I had that money sitting in my account waiting. And I told a friend about it. I kid you not. A couple of weeks after that person knew I had $20,000 just sitting there, suddenly they were telling me all about their money problems. The money I bragged about was the reason for the ask. Your open mouth is how you become the ATM. Last lesson. When you are about to make a big money decision out of love, do not ask your family what they think. Depending on how they feel about the person, they will just tell you what you want to hear. Oh, yes, help them do it. Find the one person with zero emotional stake, a financial advisor, a professional whose only job is to look you in the eye and slap you back into reality. Treat it like a business, or do not do it at all. I had two of those people, my wife's friend and my advisor, and both told me the truth. The tragedy is not that nobody warned me. They both did. I let my emotions shout them down. So how do I do it now? I do not want to stop being generous or let a couple of bad experiences turn me cold and closed up. That is not who I am. So I build two boundaries, just two. Boundary number one, every year ahead of time, I decide exactly how much money I will set aside to help the people I love. For me, that number could be anywhere between $2,000 and $5,000. It depends for the whole year. A real line in my budget. Decided when I am calm, not when someone is crying on my phone. And here is the key. I do not lend that money. I gift it. Because the day you lend money to someone you love, the relationship changes. You quietly become lender and borrower. And the Bible says it plainly. The borrower is slave to the lender. I do not want that anywhere near the people that I love. So when someone says, "Can I borrow $500, Webley?" I say, "I do not lend money, but I will gift you $500 and you never have to pay it back. It is yours. No debt, no resentment. And it only comes out of the fund that I already decided that I could afford to give away." Boundary two is even simpler. When that fund is used up for the year, the answer is no. Just no. No is a complete sentence. I do not explain it for 10 minutes. I do not take out a loan to get around my own boundary. When the help fund is empty, I am out for the year, and that is okay. And yes, some people will not like it. I have been called selfish, but listen, you are talking to a woman who used to give until it nearly destroyed her, who lost $20,000, a house, and 10 years of her credit to saying yes when she should have said no. So if the worst thing that happens now is somebody calls me selfish, I can live with that easily. I have survived so much worse than a name. So this is for the rescuer, the generous one, the one watching with a knot in your stomach, because you are about to do something for someone you love that you already know that you cannot afford. Maybe you are in your 20s like I was. Maybe you are in your 50s thinking of taking out a loan in your own name to rescue your grown children. I understand the love behind it. And I am telling you with all the love that I have, please do not do it. Set the boundary. Build the gift fund. Let no be a full sentence. And before you rescue anyone, find the one person with nothing to gain and let them tell you the truth. Because the decisions you make today do not stay in today. They follow you for decades into rooms that you cannot see yet. All right. So tell me in the comments, have you ever been the family and friends ATM? Have you ever ignored good advice because your heart was too loud? You are not alone and you are not a bad person. You were just early to a lesson most people learn the hard way. You do not need permission to protect yourself, and protecting yourself was never selfish. And with that, I will see you in the next one.